Okay, check out this rule. The major scale, the piano tells you everything you need to know about the major scale just by the white keys, the arrangement of the white keys. It was designed for it. So we got like 4 whole steps, or what, excuse me, if we count from here, 1, 2, 3, 4 fingers with whole steps separating each finger. And then there's a half step, and there's a set of 3, all whole steps. So there's a 4, let's call this the 4, let's call this the 3. There's another 4 right here, and that's a repeat of this one. They all sound the same. And all the 3s sound the same as the other 3s. So it just goes 4, 3, 4, 3, 4, on and on, all directions. So the only place you find half steps is between, like where they butt up to each other. Where this meets the 3 and the 3 meets the 4, that's a half step. And you can use that to figure out the key in any scale. Before I show you, let me show you how you could, negotiate if it's not in the key of C. You might end up with, maybe the 3 would be right here, and your ear would tell you, if this is where the 3 is, then you would have a half step, and there would be the 4. Notice the 4 is all whole steps. Whole steps is 2 steps, right? A half step is just 1. So, right here's a half step where the 3 meets the 4. And on the other side, same thing. So there you go, if it was in that key. And by the way, wherever the 3 is, the first note in the 3, that's kind of like the home chord. And you could form the major chord that makes by taking away the second one and the first of the 4. The second of the 3 and the first of the 4, and just play these. So, just like when we were here. So play the outer 2 of the 3, and then get rid of the first one of the 4. Just keep that one. So no matter where it is, let's try a different possible scenario. Let's say you figure out that the 3 is right here. Just by ear, you figure it out. That would mean, if this is the 3, that there's a 4 right here. Because notice that there's a half step right here, and then the rest, this 4 is all whole steps. Whole step, whole step, whole step. And then on the other side, half step right here. So let's play it all together. And then let's make the chord. Take away the middle and take away the first, and just keep this. Okay, now imagine that let's say the 3 is right here. Then you would go a half step to make your 4. And then you have to do a full step, because the 4 is a bunch of full steps. And then there's your chord. All right, let's try, what if the 3 was right here? If the 3 was right here, the 4 would be right there. I'm getting rather quick at finding, full step. And then the only place that you have half steps is where they butt up to each other. And then obviously you would go a half step from here and make another 3. So there you go. That's the secret. Now let's try it with some music. Okay, Google, play a random song from the 70s.
I looked for the 70s, but it either isn't available or can't be played right now.
Oh my God. Okay, Google, play me a random song.
All right, playing Spotify.
I think I just found a half step. So now the question is, does this one belong to a 4 or a 3? I think that sounds decent. So that would mean that this is a 3. So that would mean... By the way, I said, okay, Google, pause. I said that was where my 3 ended up being, and this is where my 4 ended up being. And then the home chord is made of those. But because they're playing in a minor key, you want to actually do it a little different. Keep these and then just go back here. Yeah, it's just a matter of keys. But my point is teaching you how to find the key so you can play along with it.
Okay, here's Billie Eilish on Spotify.
That doesn't sound bad. That doesn't either. So I just found a half step. Perfect. By the way, okay, Google, pause. Since these 2 notes sounded good, that means there's got to be a full step, at least that much, if not that much. Like this is going to be a bad note. It sounds awful. Okay, Google, continue. So there's a 3 at least. Let's see if there's another. That doesn't sound very good. So there's a 3 because I had a half step right here and a half step right there. This is definitely a 3. That means there's a 4 on this side. And over here. It's easy once you know the rules. Okay, Google, play something else by Billie Eilish. And it's not just Billie Eilish, it's all music. That doesn't sound good. And a bad note means good notes. So there's a whole step. It feels like, yeah, it felt like to me, just from experience, that half step. So obviously, if this is the half step, it's not going to be, it'll be a long time before you encounter another half step. That means this note is bad. See how bad that sounds? Every bad note is surrounded by good notes. So back to this half step. Now, is this a 3 or a 4? Yeah, it's a 4. That means this is a 3. And if that's a 3, there's another 4 right here. Oop. Oops, I accidentally hit a bad note, but it actually sounded good there. Because she hit that special magic note. We'll get to that in another video. Yeah, so there you go. 3/4 trick. And if you look on just one string of the guitar, you can see right here is a 3. And therefore right here would be a 4. Let me highlight those for you. And notice that where they're butted up is a half step, 1 fret. And on the other side is the same 4. So you can use that if you know, use your ear to figure out the positions. And obviously this right here would be the start of another 3 that's going off the screen. So yeah, and it happens over and over, all over in this pattern. You see right here, for example, this 3. And by the way, whenever you find one of these 3s, it's the same notes. It's an octave somewhere higher up or lower. Here's a 4. And then on the other side of this 3 right here is another 4. And this set of 4 is an octave of this one. So you can just use it over and over to move around. If you learn, you can really learn this pattern and then benefit from it. There's so much to you know, pay attention to that can be played to your advantage. For example, notice that you know, if I highlight this 4 right here, not only can we navigate up the string without hitting any bad notes if we know that's our 4, but you could go to the next string if you notice that this is the situation that sort of stacked on top of this 4 but off to the side is this 3, and then this 4 stacks on top of that 3 but off to the side, kind of like that experiment where you stack books and you keep stacking them to the side. So there's another 3 right here. And now I wouldn't recommend, I don't know, you could play these 4 notes, although stretching your fingers out that wide is pretty crazy unless you're on the higher notes where the frets are smaller. But, you know, I have another way to basically navigate where you're using 3 fingers per string. But still, this visual comes into play and it kind of guides you. You can definitely benefit from it. Now that I've shown it to you, before we go any further, let me show you how I would use that on the guitar itself when I'm playing music. Use your ear to decide where the pattern is. Okay, we're going to use the 3-4 trick. So I'm going to pick a note that sounds bad, and as you know, every bad note is next door to 2 good notes. So without even hearing these, I'm assuming they're good. That sounds all right. Oops, that does definitely sound like a half step. So now, do we have the 4 or the 3 here? Because if this is our half step, we know we have at least a 3, if not a 4. That sounds like a 4. Because if it wasn't, it would be this note. That doesn't sound good. There's the other half step, because there's a 3 right here. Right, that's the 4. I'm stretching my hand out real big so you can see the 4. And then here's a 3, and then there must be a 4. Right? So you just use that on every string. I could try it again. Sounds bad. Now I've got a half step. Oh, that's a 4. So this must be a 3. See how I put a half step right there? Sorry, I hit a bad note. Yeah, and if you learn how they stack vertically, like if you know the 4's right here, then you'll know there's a 3 right here. And then there's a half step right here. Of course, my method, if you look into it, I have a better way of navigating where I use just 3 notes per string. I call this a head set, bridge set. There's always 2 bridge sets. And then after that, it's a triple. And then you got to do the shift. Yeah, look into it. It's cool. It's called the Rosetta Stone of guitar.